Today I'm chatting with award-winning ceramic sculptor Christine Cummings. So as you know, I came across your work first at the John Newt Gallery when my partner, I fell in love with one of your Fox on the Hill pieces, which I'll show you in a bit. So it's really nice to meet you. I think this counts as almost counts as meeting in person, doesn't it, in these strange times. So I suppose I was going to start by asking you, as it is such a peculiar time, if your work has been affected by lockdown and how you were in lockdown, if you did a lot of work, so how that was for you and since.
Yeah, I did do a lot of work. For the first 2 days, I wasn't really sure what to do because my workshop's at my parents' farm, and I didn't want to be around them. And I have a friend that helps me in the workshop, so I didn't really want anybody there around my parents. Yeah. So I came home, and we've got a bar in the garden, which is fortunate. So I took to working in the bar on day 2.
A bar?
So yeah, it's like it's a bar. It's where our friends congregate in the garden.
No, that's what you said, not a barn, a bar. Yes.
No, a bar, sorry. So I took to working outside in the bar, and I actually thought all of my work would just drop off a hill because I deal with galleries so much and nobody really knew what was happening. But then I put out an offer to make people's dogs, mini versions of the dogs, on my work page, on my Facebook page, and it just went nuts. So within a couple of days, I had about 120 orders.
Oh my goodness!
So I designed it so that I could make the mini dogs, buy small boxes from the post office, just pop them in, and once a week go to the post office, or my partner did, and send them off to the customers. So it went bonkers.
So how long does that take? Do they take you to do the mini versions?
I could make about 10 a day if it was.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just Bluetooth from your brain to your hands, isn't it? You sort of get used to doing it. And I was really concentrating on them. And sometimes I wouldn't make 10, but I could make 10 a day. Saying that, some people are still waiting for theirs. So.
So do you start? How do you start then? So I haven't actually tried making anything out of clay since I was in school, and I would love to, but it's something that fascinates me. So how do you?
I think it's only the same as when you're at school with Play-Doh, to be honest. I just think it's the same.
Oh, great. I don't know what's stopping us.
So I'd start with a bit of scrunched up newspaper, and then just have a piece of clay and wrap it around the newspaper, so that I've got something to keep it hollow, because it has to be hollow form.
Yeah.
So start with the newspaper, wrap the clay around it, and take it from there, really.
So the newspaper stays in there?
The newspaper stays in, and then it fires out. When you fire the kiln, the newspaper fires out. So it's best not to be there when the kiln's firing, because it really smells, because of all the burning newspaper.
Wow. So so you must have to do that quite tight, do you? Really?
Not really. I just do it. Yeah, you have to make sure the clay's at the right dryness that you want it to be to work on. It can't be too dry because you couldn't stick bits on, but it can't be too wet or else it'd just collapse. So it's a case of just getting the clay just at the right time for yourself.
Okay.
And then adding bits on.
So that's experience, I guess.
I suppose it is, yeah. But I think it's quite a forgiving medium, because it's not like working in wood. Whereas if you took a piece off that was the wrong piece, then you can't put it back on again. With clay, I think it's very forgiving, so I find it a very easy medium.
I guess it's an additive medium as well, isn't it? So hopefully if something does drop off, you can still, obviously not once it's been in the kiln, but...
No, but a bit of vinegar can help the job as well. So vinegar is very sticky, so if you add it to the slit... Vinegar,
did you say?
Vinegar, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It attracts a lot of flies in the workshop. It must be a good
so you're
job.
On this bar, you've got lots of vinegar.
Flies,
So you need lots of Venus flytraps and things like that around your work.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Oh, wow. So, I mean, obviously the thing that drew me to it is I love animals. And it you know, I love foxes, I love animals, and your pieces have got so much character in them. And I'm guessing that you love animals. So do you want to take us back, and how did you get into doing this?
I've just always had animals around me, really. So my mum and dad are farmers, but they're arable farmers. But we always had a lot of animals on the farm, horses and, well, pony, donkeys. Then they bred pigs as well. So there's a lot of pigs about, which is what I started making in the first place. I only made pigs to begin with.
I think I read about your pet pig.
Jezebel.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've just always had animals around, and then when I was little, I used to collect with all my pocket money. I'd buy ceramic, you know, the Wades and Whimsies. Yeah, that's what I spent all my money on, and Bezics and things like that. So I just collected it before I even started making it. So it just seemed like a very natural thing to do.
So then, what did you start make? Did you make things at school, or?
Yeah, I think so. No. The pottery teacher wouldn't let me do ceramics at school. So,
right.
No, she said I couldn't do it. She wouldn't have me in the class. So
can we ask why?
Pardon?
Can we ask why?
She said I was just a bit boisterous.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think school was.
As in you might break things, or?
Well, no, as in I don't think school was my finest hour, to be honest with you. That's all. So anyway, so I didn't do ceramics, but I did do art, and I really enjoyed the art side of it. And it was actually the only O level that I got was an art O level. So then I went to art college. Yeah. But I had to do a BTEC to get on a foundation course, and it went from there, really. While I was on the foundation course, I did a lot of ceramics. So yeah, it kind of went from there. And then I specialised in ceramics at Lancashire Poly, the HMD there in Preston. At Lancashire Polytechnic. Yeah. Okay. So it just went from there, really. And then my final show was just all pig studies. I used to go drawing pigs a lot and just made pigs. And that was my final show, and I got a distinction from that. So after that, I carried on to the £40 a week government scheme. Oh gosh, I've forgotten what it's called now.
Not the YTS.
It wasn't the YTS. I could tell you in a minute. But anyway, so I did that, the £40 a week, and I used to work on my parents' farm to sort of supplement it, and I took it from there, really.
So to do your studies of pigs, did you spend,
a lot?
You spent a lot of time looking at pigs, and did you look at pig and like animal anatomy and or just the living pig?
I used anatomy books, but I did a lot of sketching of living pigs. There's a place near the Polytechnic that the couple were very nice. They have pet pigs, and I used to go and sit there and draw a lot, and they just leave me to it. So yeah, so I did a lot of sketching.
So, I haven't spent a lot of time around pigs, but when I have, they look as if they've got a lot of character, pigs.
Yeah. They're very human, aren't they? And
yeah, there's something about pigs, isn't there?
Some are like humans and things like that. So, yeah, so then I went during that, and then that led me to getting my own pig, Jezebel.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's your own pig, right.
I bought the pig from the people that I used to go drawing the pigs, so why did you buy a pig? My own model home. I just really enjoyed being around them. So, and she was a great pet as well. And it was good to have my own model there, so I could study her. Yes. Because she was in the workshop all the time with us, so I used to study her while I was making them. So there was never any doubt about the anatomy of a pig then. So
no, you can do a spot check. Yeah. So what did she make of being a model, Jezebel?
Oh, she's great. No, she loved it. She used to sit and eat toast with us at art period time and things like that. So no, she's good. So and then I moved on to goats. I think the next thing I made was goats. So, and we had a pair of goats as well. So yeah, I've been lucky to have the models around me quite a lot.
So I'm thinking it's just as well you didn't specialise in tigers.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's why I haven't. I do like studying them from life, rather than
Well, you've done some polar bears, haven't you?
Yeah, I've moved on to that recently. I think as I got more confidence making, you know, I'd studied things that I couldn't directly see, although I do go to a lot of wildlife parks and study there and things. So we go and have drawing days, and I go and meet friends who are makers too, and we'll all go and draw. And then at the end of the day, just compare notes and things like that. So compare drawings. So that's good.
Wow. So how early on did you? So how do you actually start? Do you make sketches and then develop it, or?
Yeah, I do. I make the sketches, but the sketches are really just so I get to know the anatomy. I won't particularly always make the animal in the pose that I've sketched it. It's just so that I have to study them and concentrate. Because you really do have to study them, don't you? If an animal's moving about and you're drawing it, you have to be quick, and you have
to be hard. It's really hard drawing something.
I just end up
photographs and capture a still moment.
I do look at photos as well, but I do prefer working from life if I can. Like you said, I can't with polar bears. I can't with people's commissions, because I'll do commissions of people's dogs. So I can't obviously always do that, although some people do bring them to meet me. But I think you get a bit more of a rawness from life.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking, how do you get the personality into each pet? That's probably quite hard, isn't it? Especially if you haven't met the pet and the owner. Speaking as a very devoted pet owner, pet person, they have got so much character, and they're aware of all that character. So how do you manage to convey that in a?
Well, it helps a lot if the owner sends me a bit of info about them as well, a bit of blurb as well, photographs. And then as I'm making the animal, usually dogs, I'm not very good at making cats, I must say.
I was just wondering, because I have a cat. Yeah, I was wondering if you do cats.
Siamese cats. I like Siamese cats to make because they're quite angular, and you can see the form.
Yeah.
But an everyday cat, they're kind of a big fur bag, aren't they? So it's quite difficult to see. So I'll send photos of work in progress basically as well. So the owner can say, no, I'm not quite sure about that bit, or, you know.
Yeah.
But there is a line that you can't have too many comments, or else it takes away from it being your own work then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's finding the balance.
Yeah. So physically, actually, can you talk me through how you actually mold them, fire them? What's the technical process of it?
I did have a standard range for galleries where I'd press mold the body, so I ended up with the same shape, so they could reorder the same.
Yes.
You know, anywhere else. Otherwise, it would be so varied. And then I'd hand do all the legs and things like that. But it'd give me a very basic, like Easter egg kind of hollow form.
So what's the mold made out of?
Plaster. So I'll make the original and then make the plaster mold, and then, you know, take it from there.
So is that a limited series, or?
Yeah, they never last long because the mold doesn't last too long.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but that's not the case. Like the fox, you want a fox on a hill.
Yeah.
So I molded the hill because that's a nice kind of round shape, and then just pop newspaper on top and hand done fox, and then all the marks around the hill and things like that. So I do enjoy the mark making around the hill.
I was going to say, it's the mark making that is particularly interesting, I think. Yeah.
And then just putting
quite unique.
Yeah, and start getting quite abstract if you want it to. Some are, some aren't. So
when did you start doing that? Was that something you've done all along, or is that something that's evolved? No,
that's evolved as well. So yeah, it's all evolving really, and I think social media has changed it so much because you've got an audience there all the time, so you don't have to wait for it to go to a gallery and then get feedback from it. You can just put it straight on your Facebook page or Instagram page, and you get feedback straight away. And I think that gives you confidence as well.
So do people tend to like the ones with the mark making, or?
Yeah, they do. It's a mixture. It's a real mixture. Some people prefer more realistic things, and, you know, some people go for the more abstracty things. So it really is really mixed bag. I have a lot of dog people on the Facebook page, so I do. I do. Yeah, I end up making a lot of dogs.
So what type of clay are you using?
I use earthstone hand building. It's just a good strong clay, so it can withstand. Because if a raku fire, that's a big temperature shock for the clay. So it has to be really strong clay, quite expensive clay to.
So you said it's
earthstone hand building. And there's other clays like tea material is a really good clay, but that's really expensive. That will be for great big things. Right. So it's just judging the clay you need for the size of the piece you're making, really. And not to have too much grog in it, because if it had too much grog in it, you couldn't get the finer details, or unless you don't want fine details, it just comes down to what you want from it.
And for people who don't know, what is grog?
Quite big chunks in the clay, quite big hard.
And so I love the effect of raku, but how is that different? How do you actually get that effect, the raku? Is it the firing process?
Yes, so it's biscuit fired. So that's the first firing. So you end up with a hard, you end up with the model, just a basic kind of plain beige colour. Then you apply the glaze. Then it's put in a kiln outside, a raku kiln, taken up to 1,000 degrees. And then you take it out at 1,000 degrees using tongs or a shovel or something. Take it out into the air temperature, and the air temperature attacks the glaze, and you hear it go ting, 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 ting. So that's all the crackles.
Okay.
All the marks on it. So then you put it in sawdust or any combusting material, and it slowly smoulders, and the smoke picks out all the lines in the glaze. So
if you actually take it out at 1,000 degrees, that's got to be quite hot, hasn't it? A hot process for you.
Yeah. I have been on fire.
Have you?
I have been on fire. Yeah. Don't wear padded shirts and things like that is a good tip when you're doing it. So yeah, it is quite hot. You have to wear a mask and big gloves and things like that. It's very smoky as well. It's probably not very good for you, to be honest. But anyway, it's a good effect.
It's a lovely effect, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's beautiful. Is it Japanese raku?
Yeah, it's Japanese. Yeah.
So, do you ever use a wheel and
only for 6 weeks at college?
Okay, so that's enough, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't go down that route really. That's all. But I did enjoy it. It. But I have a friend at the moment. I've got a friend that throws pots for me. He suggested he throws them on the wheel. Yeah. And I decorate them, so I've been drawing on them, which I really enjoyed doing. So that's a little diversion at the moment.
So is that scraping in decorating, or?
No, I've been using ceramic pencils and underglazes. So it's domestic wear, so I end up with plates and bowls and things like that. So yeah, my friend's a really good thrower, so that's been working well. It's a nice little, like I say, diversion really. I should be making other people's dogs, but then I'd go off.
you need to be creative. Yeah, well, you need variety, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
So do you put like particular slips? Can you? I've always wondered what these are, all these different slips and glazes. And the thing that I've always thought, I'm struck by when I watch potters at work or anything like the Pottery Showdown, is how you imagine the colour, the finished product, when you're not looking at that colour when you put it on.
I know what you mean. You just have to get the hang of that.
Does it always turn out slightly differently and surprise you?
Not when you get the hang of it. So with your fox, I knew it would be a terracotta base on a fox, and then I use underglazes for lots of different flashes of colour on top and things like that, and then a porcelain slip, which is just porcelain mixed with water.
So how many different glazes would go on to
that? Your fox would have been made while it was still greenware, before it's been biscuit fired. Would have decorated it then, fired it again, and then put glazes. If it has a big shiny patch on it, I put transparent glaze on it and oxides and things like that. So it's been fired twice.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's it's quite a long process, but it adds depth. It's like you're doing a painting.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
So how did you first get into galleries? Was that an easy process, or?
I think the very first gallery approached me, called the Fenwick Gallery in Northumberland, and I was at a show in Penrith called Pop Fest, and he approached me then, and he took most of my stand home with him afterwards. Anything that was left over he took home. So and that was, oh gosh, that was probably 25 years ago, and I still deal with them now. So
yes,
yeah, and we're good friends now. We have a good relationship. So, and then apart from that, I do a trade show in Harrogate, which is called the British Craft Trade Show, and all the galleries come round to me. You stand there with all your work on display, looking at its best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and they come round and place their orders then and say, I'd like 2 of that, 4 of that. Have you got anything new? And yeah, so that's mainly when I see galleries.
So, right, what's more important to you, touch or colour?
Colour. Both for colour. Aesthetically, yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's a surprise. I thought you would say touch. What's your favourite slip?
Touch is important, but whatever I had to choose. Porcelain slip.
Why?
Just because of the thickness it goes on, and it can crackle a bit, and just the nice feel of it.
Okay. Right, favourite clay or medium to work in?
So that was touch. Sorry, porcelain was touch, wasn't it? Because I said how it feels. So anyway, favourite clay. It depends whatever I'm making. Paper clay. I like paper clay for small.
Clay.
Yeah, for small.
Never heard of that.
It's got a lot of paper fibres in it.
Okay.
So it's quite strong.
Ooh, okay.
That's just to play about with. So
yeah. Do you have a favourite sculpting tool?
Yes, and I've brought it to show you because I knew you know. That's all it is. Is a little stick that I don't know the camera's on this computer. So it's just a stick that I've carved, that I've shaped, and then I sand it, and that is it.
So you've carved that?
Yes, but I mean, I have had quite a lot of them over the years. I do lose them.
Yeah.
And I just make another one. But if I sit down to make and I haven't got one of those in front of me, then I can't cope.
So is that what you would make your marks with, or is it smoothing, or?
Yeah, and I've got one of those as well, like a wooden comb. So yeah, I quite like that as well.
Okay. Do you prefer doing family pets or farm animals?
That's equal. I have to say equal.
Do you like working big or small?
Both, but small. I do like playing about with maquettes and making funny little figures and things like that.
Quirky or realistic?
Quirky.
Okay. And do you like sketchbook, lots of sketchbook and planning, or more going with the flow?
Going with the flow. I like the sketchbook as something in itself. You know, it's its own thing. And then if I'm making, I prefer to go with the flow. And I've started selling a lot more sketches and paintings now. People have been buying paintings off me, which is great. So yeah, so that's turned into a separate thing, really.
Are there any particular marks that you've noticed you make again and again without necessarily being conscious of making them?
I suppose the whole process is the same marks. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, that's just your way of working. So I suppose the whole process ends up in the same sort of series of marks. And then I have to make myself conscious if I want to introduce new marks, if that makes sense. So like on the hills, I like doing all the blocks and, you know, the circles and things like that. But then sometimes I think, God, you know, it's time I shook it up a bit and change it.
I'm going round in circles. Yeah, so if you were to introduce a new mark, What would happen?
I don't know. I suppose I'd just like to get more abstract, really.
Right.
You know, for some of my own work and things like that. Obviously, the people whose pets I'm doing don't want me to go more abstract.
No.
On their pets. So that's what I mean. That's kind of like, so there's gallery work, there's commission work, and then there's work just for myself messing about that I'd like to be a bit more, you know, just a bit more playful and mark making, things like that. So, but I've been using the ceramic pencils a lot just to draw, and I've enjoyed that. So
what are they, the ceramic pencils?
They're just pencils that you can fire. So it's like drawing with a pencil, but then you can fire it and put glaze over it. So I've enjoyed mark making with those.
Okay. What's the best thing about working in clay?
Probably how forgiving it is and how playful it is as well. So, you know, you can go off on tangents with it. So, yeah, that's what I think, really.
If you weren't a ceramic artist, what would you be?
I actually don't think I'd be employable as anything, to be honest. Really? I really don't. I used to want a cattery when I was little to look after animals, but apart from that, no, I've no idea at all. I don't think there's any other option, I think.
Yeah, okay, this is just option A and that's that. What does being able to make art mean to you?
It's the same again. It's all I know, and it's everything really. It's actually one of the only things I want to do. So, and if I go on holiday and I don't make anything for a little while, I get really itchy fingers. So,
do you? Stop
sand. Yeah, I just want to make things, and I always draw when I go away. So it does mean, apart from obviously family and friends, it does mean, yeah, it's pretty much everything really.
So here he is.
Okay.